Revenge films.
One day, I was invited to the wedding reception of my colleague, Taylor, who was getting married. It was more of a party where they rented out a restaurant. The wedding ceremony was held before the reception, with a public ceremony in which the marriage certificate was signed in front of the participants, and after it was over, the reception began. The bride and groom were congratulated by all the participants as they safely signed their marriage certificate. And just as the reception was about to begin, the bride took the microphone and started speaking.
Actually, there's something I want the groom to hear right now. I want everyone to listen too.
The room was buzzing. It was something that wasn't even on the schedule, and the staff were confused and was in a panic. Of course, the groom seemed surprised at the situation too, but I had a bad feeling at this point. The bride loved to tell legends of her promiscuousness and unhappiness and was shunned by her colleagues at work. The bride was one of my least favorite people, but once she insisted on asking me for advice about an affair. For the record, I was opposed to infidelity, and I insisted with disgust as Taylor talked about her own infidelity as if she was bragging about it. I think it's better to back out of the affair because it's not good for anyone and it's only going to make you unhappy, I said, and she replied,
I know I've done something bad and I want to make amends.
I thought she sounded more sane than I'd been hearing in the rumors, but as I nodded my head and listened,
I think marrying the affair partner and being happy with him is how I make it up to his wife.
Is she serious? That would be nothing but the biggest harassment of all. It's bad because she really meant it. Some woman takes her husband away from her, and seeing their happy faces makes up for it? I think she'd rather push her head first down the bottom of a valley. Anyway, all I could think of was that Taylor's senses were crazy. She also abuses other successful people and has a lot of aggression toward those who seem to be fortunate. But she treated it as a bragging, and the way she said it, I had a hunch she was going to pull something like that again. And that bad hunch turned out to be correct. I was wondering what she was going to talk about.
I lost my virginity when I was 12. After being attacked, I got pregnant and had to tearfully part with the baby.
Taylor threw in a story that aren't the kind of thing you talk about at a wedding. When the groom heard this, he was stunned and the entire room froze. I never heard of it before either, and I was disgusted. What happened at 12 isn't a funny story, and it's not the kind of story she should be talking about here in the first place. The crowd was beginning to buzz, but the bride was enjoying herself, pretending to be a tragic heroine without a care in the world. Other than that, to summarize, when she was in high school, she was an online star, and it was common for her to do intercourse with multiple fans. As a result, she got pregnant several times, and her partner asked her to have the baby, but she didn't want to be tied down to one person, so she simply broke up with him. She was having an affair until just before she met the groom. And the partner never left his wife, but she just blabbed on and on about all the things she had done for him. It was too much of a surprise, and no one stopped Taylor. To top it all off, she was crying and boasting about her misfortunes and promiscuity with great enthusiasm. Naturally, the crowd and the groom froze. I wasn't surprised because most of what I had heard was already familiar to me, but I wasn't in a position or mood to stop her, so I just kept my mouth shut. By the time Taylor finished telling the whole story, the room was in no condition to continue with the reception as it was. The groom was turning pale and his parents were shouting. And yet, Taylor looked like she didn't have a clue. Naturally, the marriage was called off on the spot. The groom ran out of the restaurant crying as he ripped up the marriage certificate they had just exchanged. The bride was furious with him.
The groom and participants will be moved by my tearful confession of my painful past at the wedding reception. Everyone will tearfully congratulate me and will begin a happily married life.
Apparently, that was the plan she had in mind. We were all so shocked at her lack of taste in scenarios that we were at a loss for words. While everyone was stunned, Taylor was playing the tragic heroine in the end.
How could he abandon me? Why doesn't everyone applaud and congratulate me?
I'm crying, so you guys should be moved to tears, right? Everyone thought that if she confided in only the groom, but if she confessed such a thing in front of the attendees, anyone would have called it off. And the bride, who was left behind, was angry at the frozen attendees for not getting her way. Why are you just sitting there and watching? You guys should have stopped the groom. She was cursing a lot, and the participants were indeed offended by her attitude.
Who does she think she is? It's so crazy that she doesn't even realize she ruined the ceremony herself.
As a result, the venue turned into a war zone.
I can't celebrate this marriage! Give me back my expensive wedding fee!
That was for my wedding, so it's mine. The bride refused, and in the end, she started to lash out. You're a human trash for not congratulating me after all I've been through. I am so sorry for the inconvenience. The bride's mother, who couldn't stand to watch, apologized repeatedly and took the bride out of the venue in tears. I felt more sorry for her mother. After that, not surprisingly, the bride was charged by the groom for alimony and expenses for the wedding. It was the groom who left me at the ceremony and humiliated me in front of everyone. Why should I have to pay? The bride was furious, but the groom's side had a lawyer, so there was no way the bride's side could fight them off, and she and her mother had to pay the money back. 5 years later, at the age of 40, the ex-bride finished paying back all her debts to her ex-groom and met a very special man who accepted everything about her. Incidentally, I heard that she hid the affair she previously exposed, but the marriage was consummated immediately. My husband's family really wants an heir, so I'm quitting my job because I'm going to get pregnant once I get married. Well, I'm very fertile by nature. She said that and left the company with great enthusiasm, but just 4 months later, they divorced. She was told at the hospital that due to her age, but also due to her multiple pregnancies, she had almost no chance of getting pregnant. It's well known that a woman's chances of conceiving a baby decrease dramatically from the age of 35, but apparently the latter is rumored to be the more significant cause. So she had to tell her husband for the first time about many things in her past, and he was furious when he found out about it. The divorce was finalized immediately. No matter how kind a man may be, if he knows about her past. But I never thought after all these years it would come to this. Honestly, her marriage is doomed now that she was left by such a kind husband. She thought she could make a baby if she wanted to because she'd been pregnant before, but when she decided she wanted one, she was shocked to be told it would be impossible for the rest of her life. All I can say is that she deserved it. I don't understand how she can despair after ruining her own life so much, but here's where Taylor got scary. When Taylor realized that she lost her marriage and couldn't have children, she went crazy. She attacked a mother holding a young child on the street in broad daylight and almost kidnapped her. Fortunately, since it was daytime, as soon as the baby's mother screamed, Taylor was seized and taken away by the police. The doctor told me I can't have a baby, so I should be allowed to have one. She apparently went on a rampage, verbally abusing the police, and now she's behind bars with official misconduct charges as well. Her mother, after the tragic wedding, couldn't bear the struggle and passed away due to illness. Among her colleagues, there are rumors that it's a revenge from the babies.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.